I'm Lee Holin. I'm a sculptural collage artist. I'm from Bayside, Queens, currently living in Chinatown, Two Bridges, you name it, they'll rename it. I had a friend of mine introduce me to street art. This was the early aughts, the early 2000s. Everyone who was doing it all kind of knew each other on this New York scene. I loved the fact that I could learn things about art that they didn't teach you in any school. How to use the environment of a street to put a piece out. I did street art for about a decade before I started to feel that street art was not what it was when I originally started to fall in love with it. Advertisers and corporations were getting in and hip to how hot street art was becoming, and everywhere you went, there was a posting, an advertisement. Every time I tried to wheat paste a doorway, it was taken over just hours after I had put it up. I couldn't compete with a corporation. I'm one person with little to no money. Then out of anger and frustration, every time I saw corporate ads, I would just tear them down. I'm tearing your shit down. Slowly I started thinking maybe I'll just gather these pieces together and use them in the collages that at that time I had just been starting to think about doing. The idea of the self-portrait was the simplest idea, and by creating a simple concept and a simple composition, I can take this material and make the material and the use of that material become the focal point. There are pieces of paper in the self-portrait, in all of my pieces, in my still life, in the portrait of my father, that work so well that they cover two different plane changes. Between the eyebrow and the brow ridge is only one piece of paper. And I think it works from a distance and it works from close up, because when you're close up to these pieces, they're a very different experience than when you stand back. Whenever I come across something on the street, I'll pick it up. Sometimes I'll have a full day and I'll go out to my farms. I gather what's grown, the advertisements that have collected over time and gone over each other in a feud. Being stuck using the colors of the pieces of paper, I find, can be very frustrating because it's hard to find the right values for certain parts, and it can create a disconnect from one plane to another plane change. However, that also is a part of the process. So that is part of what makes the piece what it is, because I have limitations that I need to try and overcome. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I have to tear the whole fucking thing apart and start over. All right.